Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating social and financial experiment. We're going to look at the 2011 Economic and Sustainability Blueprint of Lifechanyuan's second home, exactly as it was laid out by its founder, Xie Feng. We're going to break down how this highly isolated, spiritually focused community planned to engineer its very own completely self-sustaining microeconomy. It's a wild ride, so let's just jump right in.
Let's start right off the bat with this incredibly audacious joke from the founder, Xie Feng. He actually told his followers that they'd eventually have so much money they literally wouldn't know where to put it or how to spend it. And, while he admitted this was said in jest, he also insisted he knew for sure they could realize this ideal. This really sets up our central mystery for today. How exactly does a closed, off-grid agricultural community plan to generate that kind of boundless wealth?
Let's dive into Phase 1, funding the second home, and the strict rules of early capital.
To understand their grand vision, we really have to look at how they started. I mean, this wasn't a project backed by venture capital or some massive bank loan. No, the entire community was seeded with just $50,000 from founder Xie Feng's personal savings. Think about that for a second. 50 grand is, well, it's barely a down payment on a modest house in many places today, yet this was the seed money for an entire self-sustaining community. This was later supplemented by early donations from internal members, whom they affectionately referred to as sisters and brothers.
And this brilliantly illustrates their strict financial isolationism. They drew a hard, absolute line in the sand regarding where their money came from. They only accepted contributions from Lifechanyuan Celestials, which are the internal members within the group. They flatly refused any outside corporate funding, organizational grants, or alms. As Xie Feng stated, they would never live on alms given by others. They were determined to build this entirely on their own terms, completely insulated from the outside financial system.
Moving right along to Phase 2, the pivot to self-reliance and solving the survival equation.
Once formal operations began, the community faced a massive core challenge. Basically, how do you provide food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and care for a growing population, all while ensuring everyone has a happy, convenient life? Well, their solution was a massive agricultural pivot. They essentially had to farm their way to survival. They achieved total self-sufficiency in vegetables, meaning they didn't have to buy a single leaf from the outside world. They also planted over 10,000 fruit trees. We're talking plums, grapes, chestnuts, and peaches. And for their early income, they grew so many pears they couldn't possibly eat them all, allowing them to sell the excess on the market to generate some revenue.
But they didn't just stop at planting trees. They instituted highly granular daily metrics for their members' diets. For instance, Xie Feng set a specific goal for every single member in their third branch to eat exactly 1 chicken egg and 1 duck egg daily. By meticulously tracking and producing their own protein sources in-house, they entirely eliminated the need to buy any meat from outside markets. It is a fascinating look at how micromanaging agriculture can completely seal off a community from external dependencies.
Next up is Phase 3, Extreme Zero Waste, and a radical approach to resources.
This brings us to perhaps the most uncompromising element of the second home's blueprint, an intense zero-waste policy. This is sustainability taken to its absolute furthest logical conclusion. To survive, they created completely closed-loop, off-grid systems. For fuel, they didn't spend a dime. They simply pruned their 10,000 fruit trees and used the wood for fires, keeping a backup plan to build a methane pool if the firewood ever ran short. And for fertilizer, they virtually eliminated the need to buy chemical alternatives by using burned garbage, waterlogged compost, and chicken feces to nourish their crops.
Impartially speaking, their dedication to this closed-loop sustainability is absolute. They strictly mandate that all human stool produced by members of the home is captured and repurposed directly into the soil as potassium fertilizer. Literally nothing leaves the system. Everything, and they mean absolutely everything, is viewed as a resource to be fed directly back into the community's survival.
Their extreme frugality is perfectly encapsulated by their own mandate. The home does not waste any resources, not a vegetable leaf, not a drop of water, not a grain of rice, not even stools. This hyperfrugality extended to their company's finances as well, for sure. There was a total ban on buying any luxury goods or really any items with a low utilization rate. This incredibly strict discipline ensured that their modest early profits completely covered all daily operations and staff expenses.
Which brings us to Phase 4, a miraculous economic vision and the path to 10 million.
Now, I want you to contrast that gritty, grounded reality, the reality of scraping together compost, counting daily eggs, and pruning branches for heat, with the founders' unimaginably lofty financial goals for the community's future. Feng boldly predicted in this 2011 text that by the year 2013, the home would generate an annual revenue of 10 million yuan RMB. He claimed to have already selected the projects and conducted the market research to make this happen. This massive leap in wealth was planned to come through specialized plantation projects that were designed to simultaneously beautify the environment and bring welfare to the broader society.
But it wasn't just about market research, it was deeply tied to their ethos. The founder believed that by relying solely on their own hands, maintaining a beautiful and kind heart, and following the spiritual way of the greatest creator, this community could generate an actual miracle in the human world. He was so confident in this outcome that he even captured this sentiment in a song he wrote, aptly titled The Miraculous Second Home.
As we wrap up this explainer, we have to look at the blueprint as a whole and ask one final question. Does Lifechanyuan's 2011 plan offer a viable, miraculous economic model for the future? Can a group truly generate boundless wealth by completely isolating themselves financially, relying entirely on internal agriculture, and practicing absolute extreme zero waste? Or does this blueprint represent a utopian dream that just highlights the sheer difficulty of escaping the global economy? It's a fascinating look at the lengths to which a community will go to build a world entirely on their own terms. So what do you think? It's definitely something to ponder next time you throw away an apple core. Thanks for exploring this blueprint with me today.